Alright folks, this is Jane, your fake CG guru, and today we'll be building a pretty big 3D world in Blender. To do that we need two tools. We need a robust scattering system and we need a versatile asset library. Personally I use TreaplBox because it is both, but if you have a different scattering system and some other libraries which are of high quality, you will achieve very similar results to what we achieve here. If you have nothing, the link to TreaplBox is beneath the video. So fasten your seatbelts and let's drive. When I'm creating big 3D scenes, I always start with the TreaplBox master file Easy Worlds. I open it and then I save it as the new project. So in this case, it's going to be Story Church on a Hill, Story Walking Path, New 01. I open the master file and I saved it as. That's the best start of a big project because the master file contains most of the TreaplBox assets in it, so you don't have to pull them in and you can start using them straight away. Big scenes, very often they have hundreds of assets in them, and just pulling them in, it can take an hour or two. You have them pulled in the file, in the master file, and you just reorganize them within the file, which is incomparably faster. What I want to see in our 3D world. I want a natural environment with a river. I want big mountains in the background, and I want to see a big grass hill in the foreground with a white church. I want to see blue sky with beautiful white puffy clouds. It's a little kitsch, but I think it's going to be appealing, and I want to see this little world. So another thing I need to do when we are starting, I need to reset the HDRI environment in Blender. Somehow there's a bug, and if you don't do it, different HDRIs might mix together, which we don't want to do. So let's go to shading, it's here. Now in here there's object and world, so go to world, left mouse button, hold the mouse, select and delete on the keyboard. Now we can go back to layout and we can choose a new sky here. So choose it, click on this one. This is a blue sky, set environment, and we got it. Now let's create the main part of the scene, which is the hill. And we need the camera to go along with it. So let's go to terrain, hills, click on this one, use the dot on the numpad to see where it is. All right, it's here. So I'll pull it anywhere I want, and that's going to be the origin of the scene. The scene can be very big, so don't be so fussy about the origin where you're doing it. Okay, grab it here and let's put it to the foreground here, and so that we can switch off all the hills here. Switch them off, we don't need them. All right, so this is the first point, and now let's take a camera. Main simple cameras, and let's take the 24. It's right here, so let's pull it over here. And now we need a second window to position a camera. That's what you always have to do. So you have two windows. Let's close here. Now change the active camera to this one, and I always like to pull the camera straight here out of all the groups, so this way I can switch off all these main simple cameras. We don't need them no more. So these two elements, I like to have them outside of everything because there's most important stuff. So now let's have a look here. How does it look? Okay, so go here with your mouse and press 1 on the numpad. You see it from the front. All right, that's pretty all right. Now again, top view, number 7 on the numpad. Go closer, move it around here. And now what I want to do, what I want to see, I want to see the top of the hill lower, but I still want to stay down with the camera. The only way to achieve it is to rotate the camera normally, but that would give us the third vanishing point. But I want to see the scene in a nice architectural way, so I don't want to see the third vanishing point. The only way to do it in Blender is to go here. Okay, let's make this workable here. Let's change this to 200,000 meters so that we see all the mountains in the background once we have them in there. And now let's change the shift lens. So let's go here and shift Y, change it to 0.1, maybe even 0.15. All right, the result is going to be just the same as if we had a vertical correction shift. Vertical shift correction. It's the same. So now we can go here and let's number 7 on the numpad. Let's go a bit closer. Number 7. Let's pull it about here. All right. This way we will see the river on the right once we put it in there. But for now, let's sculpt some detail into the hill. So we have the hill here, and now we want to sculpt a path into it. So click on it, make it bigger here with the wheel on the mouse. Now we want to be capable of changing the hill, so let's click this icon here. Now we can change anything we want on it, and now let's put in the sculpting mode. 0 on the numpad, that's the camera. And now let's make this a little smaller. The radius, a little bigger. Yeah, right. That's about it. And I like to draw the inverse here, the minus. So this way we create holes a little small. Okay. But the detail is not great, so what do? We have to go here, add modifier, generate, and subdivision surface. Alright, let's wait for a while. Okay, levels viewport, I like to have the full same as in the render here, and not optimal display. That will not display it, right? Okay, now let's have a look. How much detail? Okay, much more detail here. Much more detail. All right, so let's go back here, and now let's sculpt a bit more, and we can use all right, some holes here. Okay. Now let's go closer and let's give some small detail there. Okay, a little bigger. Okay, let's change this here. Let's make it stronger. It's too big. Let's make it smaller. How does it look? 0. Let's go back. Sometimes it doesn't want to pick up the right contours. All right. Okay, let's finish sculpting for now, and let's put in some mountains to the background. So here, go to object mode, layout. Okay, let's make this one bigger. 7 on the numpad, and here go to mountains, and I want to put in one range from the Alps. It's a full range. You got it in your master file. Mountains, Alps. range. Where is it? It's over here. Okay, let's pull it to the background. Okay, let's tweak the size a little bit. How far do we want it? Okay, it's too much in on the top, so number 1. And let's pull it down. Okay. It's more like it. Okay. Here, 7 on the numpad. Alt D. We need more of these to the left here. Okay. Maybe another range here. We don't need it, it's alright. It's hidden. Yeah, but it can be there for other shots, so. Okay, we got the main mountains here. We can tweak them later if we wanna. Okay, and now let's put in a big river. Okay. Where's our hill? Okay, let's put the river is in the terrain part, and let's pull it to the foreground. It's pretty much in the foreground. Okay. Now let's pull it a little bit here. Where's the hill? It's here, so let's pull the river a little more over here. Okay. We need to be a bit more precise. I want to see the wider part of the river. I want to see it a little bit like this. Right. Yeah, these very big natural elements, they are a little hard to position, but okay, this looks pretty alright. Let's give it a bit more definition. Okay. I want to see it here. I want to see it right here. Yeah, we have a lot of river. A lot of the river. Okay, we got it. Now that's the river and the mountains in place. Now let's put a mountain to the left side here. So I'll go to mountains here. I'll select this one and I will pull it closer to our scene, and in here I see the river. I don't want to see the river anymore. We are not going to use the second river. So let's switch it off. Now I want this mountain to be in our background. Same with these mountain ranges. Let's put them to the background. Alright. And now let's switch off the mountains completely. The Alps. Okay, we don't need them anymore. So this one here, let's put it on the same level as the rest of the mountains, about this high. Now let's pull it where we want to see it. That's pretty good, and we want it a bit further and a bit lower. Alright, this is pretty good. So now we have the basic mountains, and we will put in a couple more planes around the river. Because the thing is, when you're doing very big environments, you want different parts separate. When you are doing scattering of hundreds of thousands or millions of trees, you don't want to do it on one big plane. That makes it very demanding for the scatter, and your hardware might not even do it. So separate very big terrains into individual pieces. I will just create a couple planes here, and we will connect them later on. Okay, so Shift A, mesh, plane, add plane, make it, let's try 10,000 meters. How big is it? Oh, it's very small, so alright, that's too small. We need more. I can easily make it bigger here, so let's make it bigger here. Scale 10, scale 10, scale 10. Okay, now that's good enough. It's probably too big. I'll make it twice smaller, I'll just make it 5. Because as I was telling you, it's better to... This is 50 kilometers or something like that, so... If not, I'm not mistaken. So that's so big for scatters that it's really good to keep a couple separate ones. So I'll have one. I'll rotate it a little here so that it's easier to follow the logic of connection with the river. Okay, it's on ground zero like the river. Okay, now let's have another one. We'll connect it later on with some sculpting. So we can have an overlap, it doesn't matter, because we'll be sculpting the connection, so that's alright. One, another one here. The second side of the river. Okay, we'll put some more detailed stuff in here. Okay, now let's put 2 hills to the left and to the right of our smaller hill. We will isolate it. And in here we don't need to isolate it, so I'll go to terrain, I'll go to hills. Let's have a look at hill B. How does it look? Okay, that's a good guy. Let's take it, let's pull it over here. And Alt D, that will create an instance, we'll put it here. We'll use these hills for mid-ground trees, which will give more depth to the scene. So let's have a look. I think this is alright. It's there to get some more depth. The same for here. Okay, let's go to this view and let's put it a little more to the right, but let's put it lower. We just want to see it beneath this hill, and we want to see the river. This will create a few. This will create a few trees on the right. Yeah, that's pretty good. So, and the one on the left, I think that's depends how big the trees are going to be. This is going to look right. We can move it a little bit here. If we move the mountain here, we don't have to care about the rest of the environment that much, because we can also start working on a much bigger environment where you see everything, but that will take much more work. So for this particular image or this particular part of the world, this is good enough. All right, so we have the main setup. Right, now I want to add some detail to the top of the hill, so I will get some rocks which might be suitable for that. I like this one here, and I like this one as well, so I'll select these two with a shift B, and I'll put them to the foreground part here so that I can switch off whatever I don't need. So I'll switch off very big rocks, and these guys I will position them where the rest of the scene is. Okay, somewhere around here. It's actually here. Alright. It's big, so it's hard to navigate in scenes this big. Okay. Now, how high are we? Okay, these guys are very high, so let's put them lower. In very big scenes, the origin, the Z origin, it's not so important. It's good if it's around 0, but you might have mountains which are kilometers, so whatever works for you. Okay, so this one here, I want to put it a bit higher. This one here, I want to put it a bit higher as well. It's too low, but it's in here, it's coming out. How does it look? Oh, it's looking all right. This part here, I might make it flatter. I'll just make it flatter with the Z. That's all right. Okay, I like it a bit more here. Yeah, we get some nice rocky definition. We might actually tweak this a little bit. Don't change the individual axes too much. Yeah, this ain't too bad. We get some detail here. We can tweak it a bit later on when we have the staircase and the church there. Now, another super important element of the scene is the white puffy cloud. So let's go to atmospheric VFX. Let's go to clouds. Let's go to 3D clouds. It's all pulled in the scene, so you can immediately see all the assets in a bigger detail. 1 from the front, 7 top view, dot on the numpad. Select here and a dot on the numpad. Okay, that's cloud 1, cloud 2, cloud 3. I like these 3 guys here. I'll pull them to the foreground. I'll pull it to the fogs and clouds here. Okay, let's have a new collection. Foreground clouds, and pull these in. Okay, we're not gonna use these guys anymore, so let's switch it off. We can switch off the whole atmosphere VFX. Okay, these guys here, how far are they from our scene? Let's pull them into the scene here. 7 on the keyboard. Let's go closer. Let's have them around here. Oh, how does it look here? Okay, they're quite close, so let's pull them a bit closer. Okay, that's 1. Let's pull it here. Alt-D, let's have a copy, and we'll rotate it in such a way that you won't really tell it's the same one. This looks totally different from the second side, and that's the beauty of volumetric clouds. They're really, the shapes are really interesting. Okay, we can make it a bit smaller. Okay, you do scale on the outermost circle. That's where you scale. If you're from 3D Studio Max, you have a tendency to use these, but don't use this outer circle, the white one. Okay, now this one is a bit too far. Let's have this one closer. Okay, 1 on the numpad. Let's go lower, and let's pull these guys closer to the camera. We want them real big. Right. Even better, just like this. Ah, that's cool. I see now when we are gonna have the church in there, it's gonna be too high, so I'll go to the camera here and I'll pull it a little lower. Alright, that's starting to look good. A bit to the left to have more of a golden section. Alright, that ain't too bad. We will tweak the clouds a bit more. Okay, I'll Alt-D this one here as well and rotate it so that it doesn't look the same. It looks completely differently from the second side. Completely different, sorry. Okay, so this is the base of our scene without the church. We are not seeing the mountains because we switch them off. If we have the mountains in, it looks like this. Now it is time to add some hardcore 3D detail, which is the foreground scatters. We will have a main scatter on this hill, and that's gonna be the lawn biome, and you will see how cool it is if you have the biomes set up in TreaplBox. So in here I will use the biome lawn, most diverse, the taller one, and I want to create an area where the lawn's gonna be. and I want to create an exclusion area as well. So I'll be here, in the top view, I'll do Shift A, go curve Bezier, and now I want this Bezier I will move it straight here to our hill, so that the pivot is right. Now go to edit mode, delete the old one. That's always annoying, but now it's gone. And now let's draw. First, let's draw the main one, just here. We're doing this one just so that it's the inclusion one as opposed to the exclusion one. So now let's do the exclusion one. And then we can make it a bit more precise a bit later on. Right, and let's see how it looks. Object mode. Yeah, that's all right. It can be, okay, let's make it a bit, now let's make it a bit more precise. Edit mode here, a bit smaller here, smaller here. All right, that's all right. It's not closed, so let's press F. Okay, you always have to correct these when these adjustment parts are so wrong. That happens most of the time in Blender. Unfortunately, that's one of the parts in Blender which don't work as you would wish them to work. Okay. All right. Now a bit smaller here. Yeah, we'll see how this one pans out when we scatter. Okay, this is cool. Now let's call this one. Let's pull it here, and let's call it scattering spline. I'll copy from here, taller hill. We'll use this one. The old one we can delete in this case. Let's delete it here. And let's select the biome, the lawn, and go to create a scatter. It's distributed on a different plane as pyramids, which is right. And use region, use the Bezier we just created. And now let's see the density. Left mouse click on the cross, we want to use a different terrain. And to be usable, we have to click on the hill. Okay, it's already functional. So now distribute on the hill. It's gonna take a while. This is a big scatter, right? And we are showing 100%, so let's change it to 10%. This is a pretty big hill, so the scatter it's a massive scatter. Yeah, it's set up that the density will be right, so you don't have to change the density, you can use the default one. Let's check once again with 100% to check so that we don't have to render, because the scatter is massive, so. All right, that's good. Let's change it to 2%. Better to 1, so that we can use our scene and still see the scatter somewhat. A little bit. Oh, this is good. All right, so we got the lawn done. As you see here, it's not scattered on the path, which is gonna be a rocky path. Right. Now it is time to create some rocks on the path, and we'll be using this spline here that we have already. It's gonna be simpler. So I select this path here. I go Shift D. Shift D because it's gonna be a different one. So Shift D. We got a duplicate. Let's isolate the duplicate with the slash on the numpad. Let's go to edit mode. Let's select all these guys here, because with shift, hold shift. Is it all of them? Yeah, it's all of them. Delete on the keyboard, vertices. Okay, go to object mode, and this is a scrolling spline, small rocks. Okay. Let's pull it out of this grass biome so that it doesn't confuse us. And rock biomes here. Sharp, rocks, mid, small. This goes to them. So these guys, let's give them the region here. Scattering spline, smaller rocks, so they're gonna be scattered via this spline. Okay, now here. Alright, let's distribute them on terrain hill A. Now the rocks are distributed here, and we don't see any. Let's see if we show more. Let's say 50% in the viewport. Okay, we have the slash, so let's unslash it. slash, and then let's just select what we need. Let's select all that we see here. Slash again. We selected too much, so let's just select this here, and again, slash, and 0. Okay, that's the right thing. Now let's see how many small rocks do we have here. This is a pretty, that could be pretty alright. Let's test the density here. It's 50%, 100%. It's not dense enough, so let's go 200,000. That's a big scatter. It's gonna be one of the biggest scatters in the scene. I mean, we can make them a bit bigger, but I don't think that's gonna look good. So, what ain't cool here is we have this definition here. So we will create another spline, another Bezier, and we will give some definition here with bigger rocks. All right, so let's go to the top view again and Shift A, curve, Bezier. Now we created it some in a wrong place, so okay, undo, edit, undo. You have to click on the right collections. Okay, so that's here, the rock biomes, and now Shift A, curve, Bezier, and we got it here. So, and let's call it immediately. Double click. I copied the name from beneath, and spline, small, bigger rocks. They're still relatively small, but they're bigger than these. And that's the spline. So let's edit it here. It's over here, so let's pull it. Let's go to object mode and let's pull it to the same place where this one is. How far is, oh, it's here, all right. Sometimes this gives you some trouble. Okay, we're in the right spot. Again, you always have to delete the original one. It's very annoying. One of the things in Blender which doesn't work, but it's alright. So now let's use the pen and we will create more definition here. Some big rocks here, some big rocks there, some big rocks here, just some here. These bigger rocks will look alright once we do it. Okay, these are going to be bigger, so let's take this scatter here and let's do Shift D. It's going to take a while. Okay, go to object mode here. Okay, we got these sharp rocks, mid, small. It's this rock biome, so Shift D when the mouse is here, Shift D. It will take a while. Okay, it's not active, so we have to now Shift D, and it will take a while, and we will have the second scatter. And we can make this one much smaller, alright, because it's gonna be bigger rocks, so we don't need as many instances. So close it here. Right now I'm creating the bigger rocks on the path. It will take a moment. Go to, that's a big scatter, so go to create a scatter here, and we can change this to 50,000 again. And we can just show 10% in the viewport. We created the splines here on the sides, right? So we will select them in a moment. So here. Okay, we will delete this here to speed up the process, because it's better to select the spline first. If you delete it here, it's gonna take a long time. So delete this one here, and let's select the scattering spline bigger rocks. We got it. It still takes a moment. Maybe we can even make this 25,000. I think it's gonna be alright, because we'll make the second batch of rocks much bigger. So we don't need such a high density. And distribute on terrain hill A. Alright. It might pop up in here. You see? We see these already. Let's close this. And the scale, let's make it 3. Much bigger rocks than the little ones, than the little guys. 3. And 3 in here as well. Always keep the uniform scale. You don't want the weirdly skewed objects in your scenes. Keep them realistic. Okay, so we got these guys. And when it comes to the first setup, we are pretty alright, but I don't like, in here we don't have any, so I'll go back to the spline here, for bigger rocks. I'll go to the top view, and I'll add some lines here. Go to edit mode, I'll draw a couple here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, for object mode. For the moment, I'm happy with the path. All right, now let's give more diversity to the meadow. We are in the resaved triple master file, so it's super convenient because you got the biomes in. So you pick the grass biomes. I want the big tall meadow grass, and I want to start with the feathery grass. So you see the biome is here already. What we need now is to have the limitation Bezier curves. So I'll go Shift A, curve Bezier. Now there's always this part with creating the Bezier where you have to go to edit mode and delete the one that Blender creates there. So push A, delete vertices, and you got it. It's away. It's gone. And now we can draw what we actually want, which is draw. I kind of want to see them all over the place. Even if you don't close the limitation splines, it's gonna be alright. It's gonna scatter there. So I don't bother closing them because it works. Okay, here, maybe some here. Alright, now let's call it right. Right, object mode. And now it's very simple. You select the biome here. Pick the Bezier first. It's here. The color picker, scattering spline, we got it. And here we need to have preview as pyramid, otherwise it would be crazy. So let's just show 10% to see how well we're doing. And now terrain hill with the color picker. That's exactly what we want here. So that's the fairy grass, and let's get on to the next plants. Now let's make it simple. With the main tall meadow grass, let's put it all over the place. It's a little less realistic, but let's do it. We'll have plenty of diversity there. So let's go to biome tall grass meadow, big background, less ram. That's a very fast one to do. It has bigger clumps, so it renders faster, so it consumes less RAM. Again, pyramid is selected, so let's just come here, change this one to our. Now it's hard to select the hill because okay, terrain hill A, because we have the. Now that's cool. We don't need as many, so we can just have 4,000 or even 2,000. All right. But we cannot. We still have to pick the. This limitation spline. Because we don't want the grass to be, it worked. Because we don't want the grass to be on the path. So this is cool. We got it here. And I think we can progress to, let's have some clover that will only be in some places on the path. So let's go to plants. Let's close the grass, go to plants. Now let's find biome clover, it's here. Just let's wait for a moment. Okay, we got it. I will just draw a couple places here. Now Shift A, curve base A. I create a base A curve here. I call it the right way. Okay, now let's select it, edit mode, and let's draw the clover areas on the path. So this draws the areas. You don't have to close them. It works with scattering even if you don't. So that's very cool. You kind of I want some here, maybe a bigger one here, and a little bit of a line here. And you just go object mode and then you select it in the menu here. It's easier. So in the list actually. So the region is here. Preview as pyramid, that's right. And let's select this hill here because it will be hard with all the scatters there. So distribute on terrain hill A. And here you go. This is the clovers. I changed them a little bit. I don't like these guys here at the bottom, so I'll go back. This is too big. I'll do some smaller ones here and a couple others. So let's go back to the here, edit mode. I'll delete this one over here. I don't like it. And I'll draw a new one, a smaller one, smaller area. You will immediately see the colors there, so we can zoom in and draw some detail. Yeah, here, maybe some here, and a small one to the top. All right, we got it. So the clovers are done. We can continue to our next part, which is I want some feathered reed grass at the edge of the path. So in here on the right you select the biome because you got it already here. It's much easier than pulling all these plant biomes in from TreaplBox. They're just in your master file and you immediately access them. It's a much faster workflow, so I advise you to use the TreaplBox master file. Okay, so here we are in the object mode, that is right. Let's go to feather reed. Okay, in TreaplBox create a scatter. We see it's already set up, but we want some. We'll keep this for the naming, but we'll have a new line. Shift A, curve, Bezier. We'll copy this name here. Let's call it new so that we know the difference. And now let's pick the new one and let's draw. I want to see the feathered reed just at the edge of the, so edit mode, just at the edge of the path. And here I draw it. I'll draw some here. I'll draw some here. Some here. I don't want to see them all over. It wouldn't look natural, so there's going to be gaps and there's going to be the places where they are. So now it's time to delete the old one, or let's go to object mode first. In here, that's the clovers here, selected already. So let's go to feathered reed. Now let's get rid of the limitation, get the new one. Oh, sorry, I call it the clovers, but it was actually the feathered reed. Okay, I'll rename it in a moment. So feathered reed and distribute on hill A again. Let's scroll down and distribute on hill A. You see, these guys I accidentally call them clover. Let's rename it. Sometimes accidents happen when you do a lot of 3D. So let's copy the name, Control C, Control V, new, and we can delete the old one. We don't need it. So, and here, I want to see more of these guys. There's not a sufficient number of these, so I'll draw a couple more. Let's go to edit mode. Let's draw. We can even have a bigger area here, maybe a bigger one here. Object mode. How does it look? That's alright. And I'll draw a couple here towards the bottom. I'm not happy it's not sufficient. Let's draw here, alright. And a couple here. Alright, that's good. Alright, we got these guys. And it's time for more. Now let's put in the daisies. I want to have a great spline for plants, the limitation spline, so I'll go here to scattering areas and I'll pull in this spline. It's pretty simple, but it's really cool for all plants. So I'll press the slash on the numpad. Alright, I want to make this usable in our file, so I go here, you see here, left click on these chains. Now we can use it in our scene. It's a usable instance now. So go to edit mode, select everything, left mouse button and pull it, and now Shift D. I want more of these. 7 again, Shift D. We can rotate them so that there's not that much repetition. Again, Shift D. And okay, that's about it. Back to object mode. And we will call these, okay, right now we have them in Clover. We want to have them in the daisies. So let's switch on the daisies. Let's pull these here. And we'll delete the old ones, the old daisy limitations, and call these new so that we know what we're doing. So let's delete the old one, delete on the keyboard, and now the slash, we are back. Let's select the daisies. Okay, I want these to cover more of the hill, so I'll pull it here. All right. Now left mouse click on the daisies. I want to see more here. I'll pull this. Okay, here. Let's close grade. Well, this is the daisy scatter, and use region. The limitation region is this one. Daisy is new, and let's distribute on the hill. Let's go down. Let's go down. It's hill A. Let's pull it on hill A. All right, now we got all these. We got all these big areas of daisies. I don't think we need them as dense, so let's just do 5,000. That's gonna be all right. Yeah, that's gonna look good. Okay, time for dandelions. Let's do Shift A, curve, Bezier. We got it here. Now let's call it right. Okay, the new ones. I want to see a couple on the path and some on the hills, so I'll draw them here. Let's draw these guys here and go to edit mode. The pencil, let's zoom in a little bit. Okay, a couple here, couple here, couple here, couple small ones here, and some here, some bigger areas. It will be closed, so it doesn't have to be closed, they will still be there. Okay, we got them, and let's go object mode, and let's pick the limitation. It's here, right here, and we need to color pick the hill, which is here. It's hill A, and you see we got some big areas of dandelions. We don't need so many, so let's change it to 1,000. Yeah, that's gonna be more natural. Maybe 2,000, 1,500. Okay, that's too much. I can see our okay, 1,500. Yeah, that's gonna be all right. Have a look. Let's zoom in. I always preview with these pyramids. We can actually change it to, it's not that many. We can change it to none and actually see how they're gonna look as the plants. You won't see that many in the grass, but you will see the yellow. You'll see the yellow flowers once we render. All right, we got the dandelions. I also want to see some bushes on the sides of the hill, so I'll go here to the, have a look here, TreaplBox elements, go to bushes individual, Robinia bush, and I'll pick a couple. I'll pick these 3 guys, and I'll pick one big winter one, and let's create a let's just create a scatter. I selected the bushes. Okay, they're not visible, so I need to push the slash, otherwise the scatter won't be created. So now plus, create new scatter, and let's wait. Okay, we got the new scatter. The name is not cool, so biome bushes robinia, and let's pull it to this place, bushes biomes. The distance 1 meter, 1 meter is good. All right. Now I will select this spot here, just so that we see only the hill, and I wanna draw them on the edges. So I'll go Shift A, Curve, Bezier. I will go to Edit Mode, Pencil, and I will draw them somewhere around here, somewhere around here, somewhere around here, and somewhere around here. Let's go here and let's see. Scattering bushes. Yeah. Object mode and region. We just drew the region. Distribute on the. Let's go down. Distribute on hill A. As usually, as everything else we've done till now. And let's see where they are. You see here, there's one of them. Okay, I want to see them more a bit here, so I'll draw some new parts. It's hard on very steep hills. It is hard to draw the areas. It doesn't matter if you draw with paint or if you draw with splines. It's hard to see it. So let's come here to the scattering, and I'll have some new ones. Edit mode. The pencil here. I'll draw a couple here, and I'll draw a couple there. I'll draw a couple here. Let's see. A couple more here. Some closer. There are gonna be too many here. Okay, there's not that many of them, so we can have the density as 30. Maybe even 50. Alright, that starts looking alright. Okay, folks, let's put in the church and the staircase approaching the church. This building is not included in the TreaplBox. It's the only part of this scene that we're working on that you cannot recreate with TreaplBox. But personally, all my assets, I put them here in TreaplBox, as I can nicely pull them in here, and that is much faster than pulling asset into the scene from below, as most of the Blender interface is around here, so it makes sense to have the assets in here as well. All right, let's pull the church up and let's position it nicely wherever I need to put it. Okay, a bit further back on the rocks. Let's rotate almost from the front, just a hint of the side. All right, we got the church in. We'll tweak the rocks here a little bit so that we see everything nicely the way we want to. Yeah, this is good. So we'll make these rocks bigger so that the church works nicely. All right, I'll pull these guys to the right spot here. We will need to adjust the terrain a little bit so that so that the staircase looks right. Okay, I'll pull the church here a little bit closer. The staircase, and okay, let's put the church a bit higher. Right. And in here you see we have to tweak the rocks. Let's tweak the rocks here. Let's sculpt them a little bit so that where there's holes, so that it's nice and it makes some sense. So I'll just go to sculpt mode here, and I always like to use this simple draw. It's in the plus mode here. See, we can make it bigger, so much easier. So it's so easy, so much easier than any other ways. Okay, you see, it's real cool. Okay, let's get a bit closer here. We can make it a bit bigger, a bit stronger. It's gonna work nicely. You see, we want the church to kind of grow out of the rocks. So this is how we are gonna achieve it. Okay, let's make it smaller again. This is a bit not sufficiently detailed. This way. Okay, let's make it more connected here. Here as well. I know. I'm using this simple one. We could add more detail, but this is not a crucial part of the render. In here, we actually do need much more. Okay, even more. Okay, right. We're missing a lot of the rock here. Okay. Don't worry, the texture will be alright. It looks a little bit on the edge, but it's gonna be fine. Right. Okay. Is this much better? Okay. We can put the staircase a bit lower. It'll be close to done. Alright. Let's get on. Now I want to create some forest on the left side, right behind our hill, and another forest beneath the hill on the right to get more depth for this particular scene. So it's real easy in TreaplBox. Go to tree biomes here. I will select these two hills with a left mouse click while holding a shift. Then I'll go /0 so that I see only what I want to see. Okay, now in TreaplBox you can use these finished biomes, so you just click on the biome. I want to use this super optimized biome because the scene is very big, so we cannot afford to fill around with the most advanced biomes. We have to be reasonable. So I'll use the super optimized one. It's here, and I will distribute it on this hill here. And I will do Shift D. Okay, / because it doesn't work this way. And I'll go Shift D to get another one. I'll select both. Shift and the second hill / again. 0 again on the numpad. And super optimized one is gonna be that's gonna be the right hill. So I'll delete this one, I'll color pick, and I'll pick the second one. Okay, and we got two forests in the foreground / we see the whole thing. Alright, this one is pretty high. Well, it's alright, I like it. So now it took a few seconds to create two forests. That's how you do it in TreaplBox, and that's not too bad. I spent the last more than 20 years creating big scenes in 3D, particularly in 3D Studio Max, and trust me, this is fast compared to what it took even a couple of years ago. Even if you're using Corona, the workflow isn't as fast as TreaplBox with Blender. And now I want to start with all the big forests in the background. It's going to be a lot of forests and we need reasonable variety. So we are going to use 3 main styles. It's going to be the mixed forest, the dark forest and the bright forest. That's going to give us the main variation for the scene to look reasonably realistic and natural. So to start, I will create the first limitation splines for the bank of the river. So let's go to the top view and I will just quickly draw some forest areas for the bank. Okay, so I'll select here the background, Shift A, curve, Bezier, edit mode, and the pencil here, and let's draw. So I'll draw some here, some here. You should really draw something that's reasonably accurate, but you don't have to obsess about it. You can tweak it later on, so it's alright to not to obsess too much about the accuracy. Okay, I'm trying to cover as much as I can. I should have broken this shape here a couple times, but this is alright. So that's a couple. Okay, let's have a couple here. Okay, let's keep it with no trees in here. Okay, how does it look over here? Okay, we got it. You see here, I've drawn something that's hidden behind the hill, but we can use it for other shots, so it's alright. Now let's call this scattering spline river bank. Okay. And let's take the tree biome, the color mix, super optimized for it. This is a real big scene. It's 80 times 80 kilometers, so we'll be only using the super optimized and mid optimized at best. So let's copy this one. Let's put in object mode, Shift D. We got super optimized O2, but we'll call it differently. We'll call it color mix super optimized river bank, and we'll put it here to the background. So, and the let's put it into one collection with the biome, with the biome trees river, and we'll have both of these in there so that we can get back later on and know where we are. Alright, this is simple. Just go to TreaplBox, go to create a scatter, it's already created, and just as the region, choose this one and distribute on, there was a preset, but distribute it on the river wider, and we got it. This is it. It took us a very short while and we got the bank of the river populated with trees. Now, the idea is that you create these splines, the scattering splines for the whole area, for the big, for the whole terrain, and then you give it the kind of trees you want. As you see here, it's not dense enough, so let's make it denser, or maybe the distance we can do it 5 meters. It's gonna naturally be much more dense, and this looks alright. So now I want to create three kinds of areas for the whole thing. You see how big it is in here. So we can draw bright forests, mixed forests, and dark forests. So right now I will create lots of closed splines. Or they don't have to be closed. I'm still confused from my old workflow. Let's create splines which look like closed, but they don't have to be, which will be limitation splines for the mixed forest. So let's have a couple bigger ones here. One forest, another one here. Let's not make them too big, because if they're too big, it's not gonna look natural. So let's have them medium. This is actually pretty big. But the area is so big that we have to kind of cheat a little bit. Okay. So all the mixed guys. For these guys in the background, which are really, really big, we need to optimize the forest in a specific way. We have to make the trees 20 meters apart or even 40 meters apart. We have to make them bigger. It ruins the scale a little bit, but if you want to fill the scene and if you want to have a lot of trees in the background, you just have to make the trees bigger. You would need ungodly amounts of RAM, which, well, particularly if you're watching in 2026, you ain't gonna have, and you will have to optimize even in 10 years time. You're just gonna do everything as in reality. That's never gonna happen. You're working with a computer, you don't have your full Earth or you don't have a force of Gaia to create whatever you are creating. Okay, so this looks pretty alright. So we can let's put some trees just on the plane. Okay, object mode. Let's just use these splines for the mixed trees. For plane. Let's call it plane fields and right side. Yeah, I know. Okay, let's make it. Let's call it better. Let's call it. It's the eastern side. It's the eastern side. So plane fields eastern side. And for the eastern side, we can copy this biome, and so we can go Shift D. And let's create another. Let's create another biome, a mixed trees. Biome trees, mixed color, okay. Eastern plain and let's put this biome here. Okay. This is the scattering spline. Mixed forests. Okay. And we can put it here. Now I will copy this scattering spline here so that we can pick it for both planes, for the eastern one and for the northern one. Alright, so this is the biome. Let's have preview as pyramid, otherwise it won't even display it because it's too crazy. Okay, and distance minimum 10 meters. We might even make it bigger. Now distribute on the plane fields eastern side. and let's wait for a moment. These are very big scatters, so it takes a while for them to be calculated, all the positions of the trees. Okay, 1, 2, and 3. Beware the Jabberwock, my son. Oh, we got it. We got the right spline selected. So you see these are pretty big forests here. Now let's create a spline for, we are seeing 100%, so let's change it to 1% so that we can have it on. We can have the forests on, but while we are working, so that we don't have to switch them off. That still takes some time to change the whatever's visible in the viewport. Okay, I understand it's frustrating watching this with me. Okay, this is good. So now let's do the dark trees biomes. So let's call it new biome trees dark. I'll pick one of the dark biomes here. I think the dark one is optimized already, so it's not called optimized because there's only the optimized version here, prepared in the TreaplMaster file. And now let's create the spline. Okay, edit mode, and let's draw dark forests. Draw them in any way you wish. And one dark one, another dark one. These are pretty big, so be careful about the size of the forest. If you make them too big, it looks very unnatural in the final render. And also remember, for the background, you need to make the forest real sparse and make the trees bigger so that they fill the space. Right now it's pretty uniform, so let's have some, particularly in the foreground, let's have some alleys of dark trees here. That will make it look much different than the actual big areas. And a couple of very small ones. It's important that you vary the size of the areas and that you have a sufficient number of different scatter styles to get a natural look. Alright, so for this particular plane, let's do the dark forests. Again, preview as pyramid. Let's call this scattering spline dark. And let's have two versions here. Sorry, I accidentally did the wrong one. Again, Shift D. Okay, and for this one, we got previous pyramid. Always start choosing the region first so that you don't create a forest on the whole massive plane. So pick the spline and then pick the plane on which you distribute. Alright, we got it. We got the distance at 5 meters. We have to change it to 10. Right, now it's time to do the bright trees, the bright forests, and I'll just start by creating the collection. Biome trees bright. I'll pull in these optimized bright trees, super optimized ones from here. Right, we got them, and now I will create the Bezier for the bright ones. So edit mode, and we got the pencil. I'll even do some bright ones here where the river is. They're pretty big. You have to make smaller forests when you are closer to the camera, and bigger ones further away, because further away it might be too complicated to create them. I'll have some bigger ones here, some here. Okay, I want a big forest in here as well. Right, a few lines, just simple lines. Okay, so go to object mode. Let's call it scattering spline bright. I can select this one here, and again switch distribute on off. First pick the region, it's important, otherwise you will wait when you don't want to wait. Change the distance to 10 meters, even 15, so that we don't have to wait so long. Density, let's change it to 20, and distribute on the eastern plane first. And now we have to wait, and when we're done we will have the core of the forest on the eastern plane distributed, and some on the northern plane as well. It takes a bit of time to create all the forests and all the distant backgrounds, because you need quite a lot of definition, you need quite some thinking what to put in there. And very often this takes as long as the midground and foreground, sometimes even longer. Depends on how much definition you need in the background, and usually to get a good atmosphere you need a lot, so it will take some effort, but if you put in the effort it will be worth it, and you will like the final atmosphere of your piece. And now when you have all the forests in the background and in the near midground, it's time to put in some distant fogs and some midground fogs. So I always go to our master file, the Treaple master file. I go to fogs here, and I press the slash on the numpad, and now I have a look at these. Right, I like these. I like most of these, so I'll pick a couple. I will pull all these guys to our background fogs compartment, and now I'll do the slash on the numpad once again. Okay, I almost got stuck there, but no, it's all right, we can see it. But I always prefer using just this white mode. It's viewport shading solid, because it's the at least in my experience, is the fastest way of working. So now this is our background fogs, but I want to see them together with the mountain range. So I press Shift and then I press slash on the numpad again. And as you see, these fogs are pretty small compared to the mountain range. So I guess we gotta make them bigger. So I'll just make them all bigger at once. I'm making them much bigger. Okay, just like this. No big deal. It's not some sort of super clean way of working. Yeah, but it does the job. So. And now let's pull them a bit closer. Now they're all in one line, which definitely wouldn't look good. So I'll just vary them. I'll vary the distance. Some here, some here. You can make some bigger, some smaller. That's always good. Right now I'm not looking at how they look. First I want to get some diversity with them, and then we'll make it more accurate. You need variety, and you always get it by putting the elements in there first. The final look you can decide later on. So I will decide right now. Okay, so how does it look? Okay, these guys are... I think that this is going to be behind the hills, so... Alright, let's pull them in here. A couple of these fogs I will pull to the foreground, and as I'm telling you, just pull in some of the planes, some of the billboards for the fogs. It doesn't matter that much which ones you pull in. You just position them where you want them, and you can change the material. That's a much faster way, as opposed to thinking so hard about which ones to choose first. All right, so let's close this one here, and the background, midground fogs. I will just slash here, go here, and I'll just pick these two, and I'll do the foreground fogs collection first. New foreground fogs, and now I'll pick these. Sorry for the ADHD mind swap. Okay, Shift D. We got new ones. Let's pull them here, and let's pull them closer to the camera. All right, these will be... Okay, let's have a look. How do they look? Okay, they are identical. So you can, for instance, go here to TreaplBox, close it here, go to create a proxy, and here you can swap the material for, let's say, fog H, whatever, whichever one you want. All right, and we can have one in the very foreground, and we'll make it very transparent. So Shift D for this one. Let's pull it here. That's a foreground fog, so let's put it here, and right, let's make it just like this. Because of sometimes these foreground fogs might interfere with the clouds, so it's unfortunately it's better to pull them a bit lower. And if they don't work with your post-production, you just switch them off and you put in new fogs in the very final post-production, or you render them separately, which is also very cool. All right, so slash. Okay. Foreground fogs, we don't want to see them here. We want to render them, and this is pretty much the full scene, and it's time to render. Now it is time to hit render. I set the resolution to 5000 pixels. I take my final image to DaVinci Resolve. I put a couple smokes in there, some particles in the air, a bit of vignetting, a bit of glow, and a bit of zoom. And that's it. And if you followed all the steps, you created your first big scene, 3D scene in Blender. All the 3D models and all the post-production parts that were used in the making of this video, with the exception of the church, are included in TreaplBox Pro, a big world making toolkit for Blender. There's a link beneath the video. If you want to create big 3D worlds, TreaplBox is real handy. I hope you managed to follow this very long video. This was Jane, your fake CG guru, and don't forget, 3D is a game.